yoga will use the term the witness, because a witness is just observing. The witness, consciousness, and awareness are all the same thing, at least how I am going to be talking about it and referring to it. So there is something, it's your own consciousness, your own awareness that notices that there's judgment, opinions, thoughts in the mind, that the body's comfortable or uncomfortable, that someone's saying something that you don't like what they're saying. There is something that's just behind everything that observes it. Healing does not happen, nor does yoga even begin, unless you know that you are the witness. If you don't know that you're the witness, then you're identified with your ego, your personality. And you don't even have the right orientation. So to have the right orientation to even begin yoga, to even begin any kind of healing, you have to know who you are. You have to know that you are the seer. You're not the seen. You're not your thoughts. You're not your emotions. You're not what you're feeling in the body. You're the one that notices all that, that experiences all that, but you are not that. Who you are is invisible. You can't see who you are, but you can see what's out here. So when you know that you're the witness, and you don't have to realize, you don't have to be enlightened, you don't have to have self-realization, just even conceptually knowing that you are the witness, that you are consciousness, that you are the one who sees, that's your starting point. And then healing can begin, because that consciousness, that presence that you are, that's the healer. A doctor can give you medicine, you can put a Band-Aid on a wound. The Band-Aid doesn't do the healing, the doctor doesn't do the healing. They help facilitate your own presence. They help facilitate, they help create the right conditions for healing to take place. But you are actually the healer. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the witness, and then we're going to do some practices. I'm going to give you some simple practices that help you connect to it throughout your day, as well as some formal practices like the Yoga Nidra to connect to it. So you can think of consciousness as an ocean. So at the very depths of the ocean is very still, complete stillness. That ocean manifests into form as your mind-body. So these waves are your body that's now manifested, but it came from the depths of the ocean. So they're the same thing, even though it looks very different. What happens, and this is all in yoga cosmology, from this stillness, you have the very beginning movement that's just starting to manifest into form. Yoga calls this the bliss body, because it's closest to source, the stillness of this witness consciousness, this ocean. It densifies even more. And yoga calls this the wisdom body. And you do not need to have to know this. I don't even want you to memorize it. I'm just letting you know how, according to yoga, we come from consciousness into manifest form. It becomes even more dense, and you have a mental layer. This is all the thoughts. They're subtle, they're fleeting, and you can have a thought every split second. It becomes even more dense. And here's the energy layer. So this is how you're feeling, tingles, pulsations, or emotions, or kind of the mental body, the mental superimposing something over the sensations. You feel heat and you're like, I'm angry. And then it'll go even more, and here you have the physical body. But we came from witness, consciousness, and manifested into form. So who you are is this deep stillness, this deep consciousness, which in yoga we call the witness. And the witness has some qualities to it. You can think of the witness as a really big container. So you can think of, like, if this is a pot, so that's my container. And so sometimes the pot might have spaghetti in it. And sometimes, maybe for dinner, I'm gonna cook broccoli. Maybe I'm gonna make a stew, and so there's broccoli, there's carrots, potatoes. I have some, maybe I have some meat in there. And that container does not care if there's spaghetti in it or if there's stew in it. Doesn't matter to the container. And this container really is this infinite space of consciousness, like this whiteboard. It's just a space. Sometimes what comes through this space of consciousness is happiness. Sometimes what comes through is feeling sad. Sometimes what comes through this space of consciousness is divorce. Sometimes what comes through is marriage, death, birth, job promotion, got laid off from work. There's all kinds of things in life that will come through this container, and they'll come and they'll go, and to consciousness it makes no difference. It doesn't have an opinion about anything that comes through this container. It just notices and observes that something came through the container. Does that make sense so far? I know it's kind of deep stuff. And it's not that I even want you to, I just want to explain your orientation. So you are, the reason we don't see ourselves is because we're invisible. Our consciousness is space. It has an intelligence to it. It has a presence to it. In my experience, it's something that's cultivated through practice over time. So that eye gazing that we did in the beginning. So like the next time you go to the grocery store or a checkout line somewhere, if you make eye contact with the person that's handing you the groceries, even just thinking to yourself, there's a being, there's a consciousness behind that person. Those kinds of things start to connect you into having a deeper and deeper experience of there's something other than just what is seen, than just the appearances of things. So that's one of the practices that I want to encourage you to do is when you make not every time you make eye contact with someone, but when you think of it and you make eye contact with someone, just remembering that there's something behind that personality. You probably even know people who have changed over their lifetime. Like maybe somebody used to be quick to anger and they get stressed out a lot, and then maybe they start doing a lot of yoga or they do other stuff and they start changing, and then they're not so quick to anger. Has anybody like know anybody like in their life like where that person has changed over time? Is anybody? A few of you?
I like to think when I look in the mirror, that's
Yeah, right. I know I have changed a lot. So the personality, you know, that's always changing. There's something permanent that doesn't change, and that's the witness. That's the one that heals. And so even, let's just do I want to just do a little experiment of just bringing your attention to awareness itself. So we'll just do this for like a minute. So just close your eyes, connect to your breath, and bring your attention to awareness. Thoughts might be coming in. You hear sounds, like the sound of my voice. Something is aware of these thoughts, of the sounds. And just notice where awareness goes, where attention goes when you have it on awareness. We're going to do a little experiment. Keeping the eyes closed, bring your attention to the front door. Bring your attention to the altar in the center of the circle. Bring your attention to the check-in computer at the desk. Bring your attention to the parking lot. Bring your attention to the shopping plaza where Publix is. Bring your attention to awareness. And it's like just getting a sense of awareness. A consciousness that's present. Open your eyes. And even when you open your eyes, just see if you can continue to sense something that just observes. Even with the eyes open, something that notices the thoughts. And just getting a sense of awareness, the witness, even with the eyes open. So even as you go throughout your day, you can bring attention to awareness itself, to the witness. Even just noticing the thoughts in your mind will bring attention to the witness. Now I want to do a little exercise with you guys. We're going to, so Keely, you can just turn the video off for this part.